फास्टेस्ट क्रिकेट स्कोर अपडेट्स या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट मतलब क्रिकेट नेक्स्ट।
Hello everyone, you're watching Cricket Next. I am Suramya Kaushik. Now, a big statement comes from PCB chief Zaka Ashraf. He called India as a Dushman mulk in an indirect statement. Well, we'll talk about this statement in much more detail with Sahil Malhotra, K. Srinivas Rao and Jamie Alder. Sahil, a day back, Pakistan team came here in India after 7 years. They received a warm welcome. Everybody was quite happy to see Pakistan team here. But Pakistan seems are on the same track, creating controversies, coming up with bizarre kind of comments. What's your take?
I don't know. I think I find it quite funny. I heard his statement over and over again कि कोई AI का खेल तो नहीं है इसके अंदर, because that's a common thing these days. But just look at the way he starts the statement. वो पहले वो पे का बात कर रहा है, contracts का बात कर रहा है, जितना पैसा मैंने इनको दिया है, तो वहीं से एक tone and the mentality of the person comes to light. इतना पैसा इनको कभी नहीं दिया जितना मैंने दिया है. I don't know. Very unfortunate that head of a cricket body is making these statements, especially when his team is ready to play in a World Cup. You don't need distractions like these. You have had PCB chiefs in the past who have made such statements. अब देखो ना, रमीज राजा ने कितना कुछ बोला था, बॉयकॉट कर दो, वर्ल्ड कप मत करो. खड़ा है ना आज ग्राउंड पे, कमेंट्री कर रहा है इंडिया में आके. So you can't survive without India, but then there's no point making statements like these, especially when your team is here to play a World Cup. You want to win cricket, you want to do well on the big stage. So what's the point of distractions like this? You just don't need. And not even us, people from Pakistan are condemning such statements. आप ट्विटर उठा के देखो, कल शाम से पाकिस्तान के लोग, ब्लॉगर्स, यूट्यूबर, दुनिया जहान की जनता बात कर रही है कि ये कैसे शोभा नहीं देता ये बातें करना. आप शोएब अख्तर वगैरह ये सब आके जब लाइव स्ट्रीम्स करते हैं आफ्टर द गेम, I haven't heard them saying things like these. This is not good. This is not in good taste and doesn't augur well for the relation between two countries, which is already on a very sensitive note right now. And Pakistan wants to host 2025 Champions Trophy, right? वो अभी भी अपने दिल जहां में सोच के बैठे हैं कि 2025 में हिंदुस्तान को यहाँ लेकर आना है. ऐसे लेकर आओगे दुश्मन मुल्क को?
आपने तो पहले से ही एक स्टेटमेंट दे दिया और आपने पहले से ही सोच लिया है कि जिस कंट्री में होने जा रहा है वर्ल्ड कप वो एक दुश्मन मुल्क है. यहाँ पर श्रीनी, बाबर आजम थोड़े दिन पहले जब प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस अटेंड कर रहे थे, उन्होंने कहा था कि आवर एम इज टू विन दिस वर्ल्ड कप. सो वी आर कमिंग अप विद दैट काइंड ऑफ मेंटालिटी. वी वांट टू प्ले गेम्स, वी रियली वांट टू विन दिस वर्ल्ड कप. सो दे आर ऑल सेट टू प्ले द गेम इन गुड टेस्ट, बट आउटसाइड द गेम सच काइंड ऑफ कमेंट्स आर जस्ट गोइंग ऑन एंड ऑन, बी इट एशिया कप or be it ahead of this World Cup.
You're right about one thing. You're right about this squad. It's such a brilliant squad. It's such a well-rounded Pakistan team. Although limited options hai unke paas, but as a team, they've literally kind of punched above their weight, and it's a brilliant squad with a brilliant captain. The kind of captain where people are going to pay money to go and watch him bat. That kind of a player you're looking at. And I was watching those videos the other day when when the Pakistan team was walking out of the job change जैसे ही होता है, next day PCB का job change होता है. आप देखिए, जब इमरान खान जब PM बन के आए, the first thing that happened was PCB चीफ रमीज राजा को बनाया गया. राइट अभी देखिए, जैसे ही इमरान खान बाहर गए, जो एग्जिस्टिंग चीफ थे, उनका नाम मैं बोल रहा हूँ, जुबान पे नहीं है, वो बाहर गए, Zaka Ashraf kind of came on board. And what happens is, when you have a political appointment like this, then this becomes a case of appeasing the political sentiments. And ये कौन बात करता है ऐसे? आप मेरे को बताइए, कौन सा स्पोर्ट्स एडमिनिस्ट्रेटर, चलो आपकी इंडिया से नहीं भी बनती हो, कौन बात करता है ऐसे कि दुश्मन मुल्क में आपकी टीम यहाँ है? भाई साहब, योर टीम इज हियर. They've just walked out to a warm welcome. They're about to start a World Cup campaign. आप कुछ तो अच्छा बोलिए ना at a moment like this. And I'll tell you a small instance here. There was an ICC meeting that happened in South Africa a couple of months ago. It was a board meeting, an annual general meeting, where all members of the world, cricketing representatives of the world gathered. So वहाँ पे on the sidelines of that meeting, India and Pakistan also got into this discussion over a couple of things. As soon as that meeting got over, Mr. Zaka Ashraf walked out
Hmm.
and tells the media that Jay Shah has agreed to come to Pakistan.
Hmm.
Okay, there was nothing discussed. I can guarantee you, there was nothing discussed. बट वो
Hmm.
आके उसने वहां मीडिया खड़ी थी, मीडिया के सामने उसने जाके वो बोल दिया कि नहीं. एंड आई नो फॉर अ फैक्ट, आई रिमेम्बर नेक्स्ट 48 hours, you know, there was only there was that was the only talking point in the country, that BCCI president is
Yeah.
coming to Pakistan, BCCI,
Yeah.
and I think Sahil did that story, where he kind of debunked that myth and said ki, nobody's going anywhere, and that was like a false alarm kind of a thing. But then I'm
Hmm.
saying, look at the kind of statements that they are used to giving.
Hmm.
And आपको याद है, if you would remember, we'll talk about this further, but if you remember Ramiz Raja's idea of floating a new white ball tournament, which he had discussed in the
Hmm.
ICC,
Yeah.
उन्होंने मीडिया में अनाउंस कर दिया, अब उनका बस चलता था, वो पैड्स पहन के खेलने भी चले जाते.
Yeah. Well, that's a case. And Srini, I agree with the point that you mentioned about the appointments. But Jamie, here, with great roles comes great responsibilities, right? And Zaka Ashraf is representing Pakistan Cricket Board on global front. You are making that statement when other countries are also participating in such a mega tournament here in India. And I understand that, such kind of statements come up with some political inclinations as well and some political influences as well. But you can't just say that, our team is going to be there in an enemy country. That's what Dushman Mulk actually means. You can't say it. It means that while talking about cricket, you're also talking about some political tensions between the two nations.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think time will be very, very harsh on Zaka Ashraf irrespective of how the Pakistan team fares. Because, um, again, had this comment come even a week ago or any time in the year, it's not called for. But when we just did a show yesterday talking about the hospitality, Hyderabadi
Yeah.
hospitality, the people, the throng to the stadium, and a fantastic 2.5 minute video was put out yesterday on Twitter by the PCB, which showed Sultan Wasim Akram's memoirs. And even if you account for the chip on the shoulder in his words, he's scathing in how the PCB has operated since 1984, 85 when he first saw it up close. So उस लिहाज से देखे, perhaps they're the most disheveled board. I'll say it again, something I've said on this show when Shini's been around. It's representative of where Pakistan is as a nation, unfortunately, right? As a statement. Didn't we do a show when Javed Miandad said something last year,
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
so sorry, this year.
This
So ये
year,
होता है, so foot and mouth disease seems to be a problem with certain high-ranking people within the Pakistan cricket system. And I just hope now that Babar Azam, Srini referred to him as a brilliant captain, and I agree. I think Gautam Gambhir also called him out saying, "Ke bhai, log
yeah,
Babar Azam ko dekhne aayenge." So let's hope
yeah.
that such issues do not tarnish Pakistan's performance, because you have to feel for them, right? Yes, we know the tensions and the history between the two countries, where they stand politically, but yeah, this is sport. Unlike Chetan, I'm all for these two teams playing, because sport, it's a cliche. You can accuse me of using a cliche, but sport does have a certain unifying power. And whenever I made such statements and people tag saying, but look at the bloodshed, they're killing our people. No, they are not killing anyone. The Pakistan cricket team and the PCB are not killing anyone, just like the BCCI and Indian cricketers are not doing atrocities on anybody else. It's very, very different. Social media ke din mein, it's very, very easy to club everyone together, right? But let's hope that the Babar Azam and his team are not representative of that mindset with which, unfortunately, Zaka Ashraf showed himself yesterday.
Yeah, and Sahil, right now on our screens, we were seeing these picture collage of the cricketers who had put out status and stories on their respective social media handles where they were thanking for such a great welcome there in Hyderabad. Now, when such comments come, I believe that it adds pressure to the team members as well, because till now, you were all in a good mood. But now, just because your chief is saying such kind of things and he's making such kind of comments, then it makes you in a very awkward position, because now people will say a lot of things to you on social media, and somewhere or the other, don't you think so that it affects the performances of the players?
as I said, this is a needless distraction. This is not required at this stage. Just set your house in order first. आपने 4 महीने से पैसा नहीं दिया अपने top cricketers को. Central contracts now you have rolled out and you are bragging right before the World Cup that I've given so much money, I've done this, I've done that. This is not required. If you just look at these players, I know Srini and Jamie would have had more opportunities to interact with Pakistan players in Pakistan. But last year, when I was in Australia for the World Cup, 2 days before the World Cup final, I happened to be sharing the same shopping store with Shaheen Afridi and Haris Rauf, and they were the nicest people to be around with. They were enjoying ice cream, shopping, chilling, Punjabi mein unse baat karna. I think those were like those 30 minutes with the two of them and one of Pakistan's manager there in that store. I think मैं कभी नहीं भूलूंगा. Though that will remain with me forever. The way they were talking, कितनी humility थी उनके अंदर. Shine was injured before the final. वो अपना knee strap करके वहाँ खड़ा हुआ था. Harris was so chilled out because Harris के लिए Australia is like a second home because he plays a lot of cricket there. So the vibe was so good from these cricketers. And even if you look at people like Babar, Shadab, अब इतना हमने videos देखा एशिया कप से पहले, the gesture from Shaheen to Bumrah, giving him a present after he became a father. I think all those things are required right now. This is Mr. Zaka Ashraf, this is not required. Your country's cricketers are being better brand ambassadors of cricket than you. Look at what they're doing before games and meeting. There's so much good spirit between the two teams. They're sharing dressing rooms. They're talking to each other. और आप यहाँ पे ऐसा क्या ये मतलब this is foolish. Not even a kid would make statements. But वही है ना flow के अंदर आपको again as Jamie said, putting your foot in the mouth. आप flow के अंदर क्या कह जाते हो? जुमा पे control नहीं है. आपका दिल ही मैला है ना, मतलब आप मैला थॉट लेके बैठे हो, आपका दिल ही मैला है, तो आपके मन में बातें वैसी चल रही हैं. आप वर्ल्ड कप जीतने की बात करो यार, सेमीफाइनल खेलो. अब आप वहां 14 तारीख को आपका इतना बड़ा मैच है, 15 दिन पहले आप ऐसी वाहियात स्टेटमेंट्स दे रहे हो. इट्स नॉट गोइंग टू बेनिफिट एनीवन, not anyone. And I hope the team isn't distracted because, as Srini said, they're a quality side, and on their given day, their habit of being very unpredictable on their day, I think they can give the best in the business a run for their money. So back your team because everyone wants Pakistan to go all the way. It's very good for the health of the tournament, for the popularity of the tournament. And just imagine India versus Pakistan in a semi-final or a final. Everything is going to hit the roof. Pray for that, hope for that, and just avoid statements like these.
बिल्कुल. और श्रीनी, ऐसे स्टेटमेंट्स फिर आपकी बहुत सारी अलग तरीके की टेंशन्स भी बढ़ाते हैं दोनों कंट्रीज के बीच में. नाउ इफ आई टॉक अबाउट स्पोर्ट्स डू कम इन सॉफ्ट पावर, एंड इफ यू हैव टू बिल्ड रिलेशंस बिटवीन द टू नेशंस, यू रियली नीड टू फोकस ऑन गुड सॉफ्ट पावर रिलेशंस. नाउ हियर पीसीबी चीफ ये कमेंट दे रहे हैं और इस तरीके की बातें कर रहे हैं. हम मान लेते हैं कि ग्राउंड पे चीज़ें सब सही होंगी जिस तरीके से प्लेयर्स एक दूसरे से मिलते हैं, बट आउटसाइड द ग्राउंड इट बिकम्स सो हेक्टिक for the security forces. It becomes so problematic for all the agencies to take charge of the situation and then make people understand that they have to come there to just watch the match and enjoy the sport. I believe ये इतने unnecessary comments बहुत सारी दूसरी तरीके की tensions create करती हैं.
See, let's be very honest here. As far as the relation between the two countries is concerned, there's quite a bit of there's been quite a bit of bickering. Both sides have been bitter about things for the longest time. Now that's a game of cricket, is not going to resolve anything overnight, right? That's not happening. But what can be done here is, at least when it comes to a sport, when it is being played on the field, you respect the sport for what it is. And and try and leave those players alone, as Sahil and as Jamie, both of them mentioned. Don't drag the players into this, especially we to zahir si baat hai ki in ahead of a tournament as important as the World Cup. But I'm saying, propose this, regardless of the fact that there is a World Cup happening, kind of starting in a week's time. I said, regardless of this, people need to understand that you can't shoot on the shoulder of, a sports person. Why are you trying to involve them and get them to get dirty in a prime and space where they don't have any say? And that's where you got to feel for the squad. And, this picture right now on the screen is such a telling picture of how this generation of cricketers are long past, I don't know how many actually today's Twitter generation understand what was it like to when India and Pakistan played each other in the 80s and the 90s. You
Yeah.
know, the cricketers would be scared to go back to their homes, after a big ticket game, kind of going either which way. And those mental scars have been tremendous. Why do you think a Javed Miandad or a Saeed Anwar has the respect of an India fan? Because despite what an India Pakistan game entailed, Saeed Anwar flourished like nobody's business when it came to an India game. Javed Miandad was mentally so strong that he was that single-handed army that could, kind of run into this Indian team, and that is probably the quality what they brought to the table is why they earned respect for a lifetime. And look at this generation. This generation is a completely different one, which is not carrying that baggage.
Yeah.
So does it mean that what? I mean, does it mean that Virat Kohli is gone soft and kind of doesn't really want to do something well against Pakistan? No. I mean, last two games against Pakistan, he's the guy kind of who belted the opposition, right? And
Yeah.
but when it comes to off the field, you can see this guy. He's such a big celebrity. I mean, you're talking about Virat Kohli. He's a global superstar. For
Yeah.
him to put all of that aside, go and make these Pakistan team members feel at home. When a cricketer of his caliber, his stature, is actually
Yeah.
going out of his way to let a team know that listen, we are the same. We are who we are. Like off the field, we need to respect each other's space. On the field, okay, there's a rivalry to take care of, but off the field, kind of there can be bonhomie. It's such a sweet gesture. And
Yeah.
you can see that these two sides enjoy each other's company whenever they meet. It's been so evident. Like,
Yeah.
unfortunate hai ki, the larger issues that happen between India and Pakistan do not allow these two teams to play as often as they should. And in turn, what happens in turn, cricket ends up missing out on perhaps what is easily the greatest modern day rivalry. And I will say across any sport, one of the greatest modern day rivalries. Unfortunate that it can't be, kind of done in a bigger manner. But at least
Yeah.
whatever little opportunities come their way, the people like Zaka Ashraf unnecessarily spoil it, kind of come. By the way, since we are on the subject, I'll quickly add some other thing here. You know,
Okay.
ये इंडिया बैशिंग या जो भी आप करना चाहते हो, okay, the truth is na that you can only do this to whatever gain sympathy from whatever some couple of whatever some a bunch of Twitter fans who might just kind of keep on sharing this or whatever highlighting this. The reality of the matter is that you cannot do without BCCI. The reality of the matter is that if BCCI tomorrow decides that there is going to be no cricket with Pakistan, or at multiple levels there's going to be no indulging Pakistan, the Pakistan Cricket Board is going to suffer worse than what it is already suffering or going through. That is the reality. If today, if BCCI says, okay, boss, I don't like what Zaka Ashraf has said, I'm not saying that, kind of, credit to BCCI actually that they've never played the Pakistan card. They've never played it. Right from the earlier BCCI has always been a politically governed body. Before that, there have been other politicians like Mr. Sharad Pawar, and nobody ever played the Pakistan card. And
Yeah.
with PCB, yeah, it is to appease your fans back home, and this is not even fans. This is like a bunch of thinkers who think like Zaka Ashraf. Because the overall fans, if you go and see the sentiment on Twitter, I mean, it is so clear. I mean, they themselves are saying that Zaka Ashraf doesn't know what he's talking. Right?
And
So
वहाँ
it
के
is.
लोग तो अलग है.
Yeah, sorry. नहीं,
हाँ.
ये मैं वही कह रहा हूँ कि even the fans understand what Zaka Ashraf is saying. Pakistan fans, a large amount of Pakistan fans also understand what Mr. Ashraf is saying doesn't make any sense. But it's unfortunate. I don't know. I can't think of any reason other than the public appeasement that they have to do. They think this earns them those brownie points. Unfortunately, I don't know which way it helps.
unnecessary controversies out there. Jamie,
Yeah.
यहाँ पर श्रीनी ने एक बड़ा अच्छा पॉइंट यहाँ पे रेस किया था, ट्विटर पे किस तरह से लोग रिएक्ट कर रहे हैं जैसे ही पाकिस्तान टीम इंडिया आई। आपने देखा होगा इंस्टाग्राम पे बहुत तरीके की रील्स हैं जहाँ पर लोगों ने कहा है और अपनी एक्साइटमेंट जताई है कि इतने टाइम बाद हमें ये पाकिस्तान टीम इंडिया में दिखेगी, इट्स गोइंग टू बी फन, इट्स गोइंग टू बी वेरी एक्साइटिंग। एंड आई बिलीव कि लोग काफ़ी एक्साइटेड हैं इंडिया में, जिस तरीके का रिसेप्शन मिला पाकिस्तान टीम को। एंड गोइंग टू 14th अक्टूबर, मुझे लगता है इतने दिनों में भी जिस तरीके का रिसेप्शन इंडियन फैंस देंगे वो काफ़ी ज़्यादा रहेगा पाकिस्तान टीम के लिए। सो आई फील दैट पाकिस्तान टीम विल ऑल्सो गेट दैट कॉन्फिडेंस हियर इन इंडिया बिकॉज फैंस आर क्वाइट एक्साइटेड।
Absolutely, because they're starved. No, they only get to watch it unless they buy a ticket and go to Colombo, or they go to the UAE, or they go to Australia, or they go to England. They have not seen. 2016 was the last time the Pakistan team came here. वहाँ पे last minute में धर्मशाला को कोलकाता कुछ shift करना पड़ा, if I'm not mistaken. But wherever they go, because they're a vibrant team, they're an Asian team. Uh, majority of Indian fans that I know, they love to hate Australia, but यहाँ पे hate is very different here. People want to see India play Pakistan. We talked about it yesterday, okay, what this rivalry means to so many of us and how a generation probably does not understand कि ये rivalry है क्या. That photo we put up, the one that Shini was talking about. Yes, there's very visibly there's a camera lens in that frame, but those were not any put on emotions. These are genuine emotions. You can tell camera सब कुछ बताता है, आप कैमरा से छुप नहीं सकते हो. This picture is not a photo op. It's not a fake one. These are genuine emotions, ना?
Yeah.
You see, like they're chilled out, right? तो इसीलिए I mean people, of course, come October 14th, क्या 14, 15, the date जो भी है, the stadium is going to be 1 lakh packed and it's going to be 99.9% backing the team in blue. But log wait कर रहे, they want to see Pakistan, right? The rivalry needs to be revived. So I hope, like I said earlier, I hope that Zaka Ashraf's comments do not get in the way of what Babar Azam and his players have to do. Because bhaiya, entertaining to ye team degi. Ho sake if they have a good tournament, they could even be playing the semi-final. So let this nonsense go on and let Babar Azam and his team play cricket. They have nothing to worry about. We've been saying this for weeks now. इनको VIP treatment मिलेगा. और अगर इनके मन में doubt था, तो I think कल Hyderabad crowd has erased any such doubt.
बिल्कुल। Well, thank you so much, Jamie, for joining with us. Thank you so much for your time. Sahil, last take from you. आप बहुत टाइम से ट्रैक कर रहे हैं पाकिस्तान टीम के बारे में, प्लस PCB एज वेल, वीज़ास के बारे में भी काफ़ी डिस्कशन हुई थी। और अब जब पाकिस्तान टीम आ गई है, वी ऑल नो 14th अक्टूबर को वहाँ पर हमें बहुत अच्छा क्राउड देखने को मिलेगा। इट विल बी अ पैक्ड शो। बट उससे पहले पाकिस्तान के 2 गेम्स है, वन अगेंस्ट नेदरलैंड्स एंड देन अनदर वन अगेंस्ट श्रीलंका. How do you think this team's gonna be up against these 2 teams, apart from all the controversies that's happening off the ground?
I think for them it's important to forget the Asia Cup. That's foremost importance because they didn't have a good tournament by their standards, and finishing 4th amongst the Asian teams where they are expected to dominate along with India, it wasn't a good sign for them right before the World Cup, and then losing to India the way they did. I think a 266 wala game would have given them a lot of confidence, but uske baad what Virat Kohli and KL Rahul did, I think that game was a knockout blow tha for them ahead of the Asia Cup, ahead of the World Cup, and it did raise quite a few questions on Plan B of Pakistan. So I've been talking about this even off the camera, discussing with colleagues that Plan B nahi hai is team ke paas. They are very heavily reliant on Shaheen Afridi giving them early inroads and Naseem Shah doing it from the other end. But now you don't have a Naseem Shah, so you are heavily reliant on Shaheen Shah Afridi, and then you are expecting Shadab and Nawaz to do that magic in the middle overs, which hasn't worked for them. So I think Plan B का कमी है पाकिस्तान का बहुत ज्यादा. वो एक सिमिलर टेम्पलेट फॉलो कर रहे हैं. आप इंडिया वाला गेम भी देखो, 80 पे 4 आपने शायद कर दिया था, उसके बाद 266 लगवा दिया because Babar was clueless there. He operated spin from both ends against Ishan Kishan and Hardik Pandya. I think that wasn't the way to. And अगर आप T20 World Cup याद करो where Virat Kohli did what he did at MCG, I think then also India were in a spot of bother. But Pakistan has that knack. This team especially has that knack of letting the game slip from their hand. So I think they need to address that because they'll be on top of opposition 9 out of 10 times, but they need to ensure that they finish games on those occasions. Shaheen आपको 2 विकेट देगा, 2 को 5 करने का काम कप्तान का है और बाकी बॉलर्स का है. because Shaheen Akela will not win you the World Cup. He'll give you early breakthroughs, he'll make early inroads, but then it's for the rest of the bowlers to rally around him, because right now you don't even have Naseem Shah, who I feel is one of the better bowlers in this squad. So Naseem Shah, I think, is better than Haris Rauf and Shaheen Afridi. Because Shaheen को भी थोड़ा सा condition चाहिए, but Naseem Shah is brilliant. The way he made Rohit Sharma dance in that game, the credit to Rohit for just weathering off that spell of Naseem Shah, but Naseem Shah was absolutely on song in that game. So it's going to be a tough ask for them, because every team is very competitive, and the brand of cricket which Pakistan has been playing, they need to invent, they need to innovate, and they need to find a plan B. They just can't stick to that one plan of Shaheen giving you wickets and then Babar and Rizwan doing it with the bat. ये तीन लोग World Cup नहीं जितवाने वाले.
It can't be a long-lasting plan for this World Cup. They'll really need some plan B. Srini, quickly, मैं social media के बारे में बात कर रही थी कि कैसे लोग excited थे. अब देखिए एक comment आता है and फिर लोगों की जो comments होते हैं वो बदल जाते हैं. Fans are saying कि पाकिस्तान के साथ नहीं खेलना चाहिए. There shouldn't be any match. 14th October को मत खेलो. We should boycott these matches and all of those things. What's your message to such fans? All the Indian fans, because obviously कहीं ना कहीं sentiments hurt होते हैं जब comments आते हैं. What message would you like to give to all the fans who are waiting for this World Cup?
There are sensible people and there are irresponsible people. You cannot really do anything about irresponsible people except ignore them. Okay. For example, look at what Babar Azam saying. Everyone who traveled to India before has told him that they got huge love. Now, I'm not surprised. Forget cricketer. Cricketer is revered, especially in a cricket mad country like India. A cricketer will always be revered. That's not the point. The point is, even other parts of the cricketing ecosystem, other members of the cricketing ecosystem who've traveled between these two countries. For example, media, broadcasters, commentators, or match officials, from whether from Pakistan to India or India to Pakistan. That warmth has always shown. I'll give you an example. I mean, 2004, 2006, 2008, those 3 tours. 2004, though, we know because books have been written on, what that series was all about. And same was the case in 2006. That bonhomie, and I was there in 2006. 2 months I was there in Pakistan, across the length and breadth of the country, and the kind of hospitality which is there within people, it comes naturally to them. That warmth of Punjab just extends. That warmth of North India just extends and spills into Pakistan. वो part of India ही तो था. तो वो बाहर से थोड़ी ना आएगी. वो hospitality, वो तहजीब, वो जो एक तरीका है, वो पंजाबी है. वो it is an extension of Punjab, right? So that warmth, you can see in them when we visited their homes, when we visited their restaurants, when we visited wherever we got invited, that warmth was visible. And when a Pakistan team lands here, ये तो cricketer है. ये तो cricketers है. Common men, I'm talking about common people who got such love and affection. Cricketers की तो बात ही अलग है ना. Cricketers are going to be revered in a country like India. And I am not surprised, by the time
India, and we had a long discussion here around the PCB chief Zaka Ashraf's comments. But at the end of this discussion, we just hope that we all keep this sport out of all the unnecessary controversies that are happening off the field, and just enjoy the sport and enjoy this tournament, which is beginning from 5th of October. Thank you so much, Sahil and Shrini, for joining with me, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining with us in this live session.
फास्टेस्ट क्रिकेट स्कोर अपडेट्स या सबसे डिटेल्ड स्टैट्स,
क्रिकेट के अंदर बाहर की खबरें
या हेल्दी डिबेट्स,
सबसे एक्यूरेट एनालिसिस
या फैंस का क्रेज, सबके लिए एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म, क्योंकि क्रिकेट मतलब क्रिकेट नेक्स्ट.